What we're going to talk about in this video is odd things happening with shapes or rub outs where they don't do what you're expecting them to do. Um, I couldn't directly replicate what was happening with the students board on this, but I did a workaround that will end up doing essentially the same thing. What was happening with them was they're placing the square for a rub out, and it would just be the square, so there would still be an infill. And to try to show essentially what was happening, you go here and you place the rub out on both sides. So we're just going to do from edge to the edge of here, and then we're going to be done for that, and you can see it disappears. And then we're going to do the same thing for the top side. And we'll start up here, and we won't go quite to the edge of that trace, so pull it back just a little bit. And you can see that there's still infill on material where there should be the rub out. Now, you might see other things when you start moving your board around where there's shapes that are still there that you can't select, you can't delete. For some reason, they're just still there. In order to fix this, what you're going to do is go down to the DRC at the bottom. You're going to open up display status, and this should still be dynamic fill on smooth, but I had to do it on disabled so I could replicate this for the video, but normally it would be on smooth. And if somehow yours went to disabled, then make sure it gets changed back over, and then do update all. And now you can see that the rub out actually is there. In this part of the video, we're going to talk about the database doctor, and if you run into an error where you have to run that. Sometimes you'll get a little error down here and it says you need to run DB doctor, which stands for database doctor. In order to find this, if you're not sure, it's up here in tools, database check, and then update all the DRC, check shape outlines, and then regenerate XNets. I'd just suggest doing all these because there's no reason not to from what I've seen. And then when you run the check, it's going to run through all the DB doctor, and it should fix any of the errors that you have. If it doesn't, then there's going to be some more issues that you're going to have to go into. But if the DB doctor works, then your project is good to keep rolling. Here we're going to talk a little bit about replacing pad stacks on a design without going into your footprint editor or anything. From here, there's a tool under Tools, Pad Stack, Replace. Under here, you can replace any given pad stack on the board with a new pad stack, and you can either select here another pad stack. So we'll go ahead and do this one. And then when you do this, every pad stack of that type gets replaced. Obviously, this is a bad idea to do, so we're going to go ahead and change this back to something else. And we're going to do that because I want to show you another function here. When you do replace pad stack, you select this pad stack, and then we're going to say that this is the good one, and replace this. Every pad stack of that type gets replaced again. Here we're going to talk about replacing pad stacks. If you have a design and you're getting errors when you're running DRC checks or anything else, and your pad stack is too small or too big, or there's some issue to where you want to replace this with a different pad stack, what you're going to do is go up to Tools, Pad Stack, Replace. And that's going to open up this window over here. And you can select a pad stack, and it'll automatically fill this in, and you replace it with another pad stack. And for this one, I'm going to use this pad stack up here, which is from the barrel jack. And you can see it as the new name. and then replace it. Now, the issue, as you can see here, is whenever you do that, is replacing every type of that pad stack across the board with now that type. Now, the issue you can run into here is we're going to go ahead and move this back because this is obviously wrong. So this stays open. We're going to select this pad stack, and then this one looks about right. So I'll go ahead and do that. And we replace this. You'll see that this pad stack now changed back over to a circular one instead of the what was before. This replace tool will replace every type of that pad stack. So here we have pad 65 circle 43 diameter. Every pad stack of that type that is on this board will get replaced at the same time, not just this one and not just the ones for the P-socket in this case, but every one on the entire board. So be careful of that when you start using that tool if you end up needing to use it. Here we're just going to talk real quick about what happens if somehow your toolbar over here disappears. Sometimes you'll accidentally hit the little X and then it's just gone. The way to get this back is simply to go to View and then go down to Windows, and then these are all the ones that show up over there. So you have Options, and then the other two that are normally over there are Find and Visibility. And then this is the one that we're using to replace pad stack with, and if we click done on that, then we can go back to seeing the board.